Who are the most notorious criminals who have left a dark mark on history? From ruthless mobsters to cunning fraudsters, discover the top 10 individuals whose crimes shocked the world and whose legacies continue to fascinate and horrify. Buckle up, hit that subscribe button, and let's delve into the dark underbelly of criminal history. Today we're diving into the shadowy world of notorious criminals. From ruthless mobsters to legendary con artists, we're counting down the top 10 most infamous real-life criminals who made their mark in the most unforgettable ways. 10. Leonid Minin, the arms dealer. Leonid Minin, a name that's infamous in the world of international crime. Hailing from Ukraine, Minin made a name for himself as a notorious arms dealer. His business was all about providing dangerous weapons to dangerous people. Among his clients were some highly controversial figures like Charles Taylor, the former president of Liberia, and various rebel groups across West Africa. But Minin didn't just deal in weapons. He lived a high-flying lifestyle full of drugs, alcohol, and a parade of companions. He really liked to flaunt his wealth. His criminal empire came crashing down in 2000 when Italian police arrested him with a staggering $500,000 worth of blood diamonds. These diamonds, linked to brutal conflicts in Africa, were a stark reminder of the violence that Minin's dealings helped fuel. Charles Ponzi, the master of deception. Charles Ponzi is a name that's become famous for all the wrong reasons. He didn't use any weapons to commit his crimes. Instead, he relied on his charm and cleverness. Ponzi ran a scheme that promised big returns on investments in postal reply coupons. The twist: he was paying earlier investors with money from new ones, not from any real profits. Ponzi's scheme seemed too good to be true, and it was. He managed to pocket millions before getting caught. His name has become forever linked with investment fraud and scams. When people talk about financial trickery, you can bet Ponzi's name comes up. His legacy is a reminder of how clever scams can deceive people and the importance of being cautious with investments. 8. Jesse James, the notorious train robber. Jesse James, born in 1847, is a name deeply tied to the American Old West. He wasn't just a character in stories, he was a real-life outlaw who led the James Younger Gang. Known for his bold train robberies and harsh tactics, James and his gang managed to steal about $200,000 throughout their criminal life. His actions earned him both admiration and a bad reputation. During the Civil War, James supported the Confederacy, which made him a sort of local hero in Missouri. But his story took a dark turn on April 3rd, 1882, when he was shot in the back by Robert Ford, a fellow gang member. 7. Amado Carrillo Fuentes, the Lord of the Skies. Amado Carrillo Fuentes, famously known as El Señor de los Cielos, or the Lord of the Skies, was a major figure in drug trafficking during the 1990s. As the head of the powerful Juarez cartel in Mexico, he controlled a vast empire and was famous for his huge fleet of planes used to smuggle cocaine around the world. His incredible wealth, estimated at over $25 billion, made him one of the richest criminals ever. However, his criminal career ended tragically in July 1997. To avoid being caught, Fuentes underwent extensive plastic surgery to change his appearance. Sadly, he died from complications during the surgery. 6. James Whitey Bulger, the Boston mobster. James Whitey Bulger was a feared name in Boston's criminal world. Growing up in Boston, he quickly made a name for himself with crimes like extortion and arms trafficking. As the head of the Winter Hill Gang, Bulger was behind many violent acts and managed to stay on the run for years. His criminal career was a mix of brutal violence and smart strategy. Even with his notorious reputation, he avoided capture for a long time. It wasn't until 2011, when he was 81 years old, that he was finally caught. Bulger's life showed how crime and cleverness can come together in dangerous ways. 5. Frank Abagnale Jr., the master forger. Frank Abagnale Jr. is one of the most infamous con men in history. He's known for his incredible ability to forge checks, fake identities, and impersonate professionals like pilots and doctors. Abagnale's crimes spanned several countries and earned him a place on the FBI's most wanted list. His life was immortalized in the film Catch Me If You Can, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Abagnale's story is a fascinating example of how intelligence and charm can be used for both good and evil. 4. Mickey Cohen, the Hollywood mob boss. Mickey Cohen was a notorious mob boss in Los Angeles during the Prohibition era, which lasted from 1920 to 1933, rising through the ranks of organized crime. He was known not just for his criminal activities, but also for his clever media image. Cohen managed to become a media sensation thanks to his skillful public relations. Despite being involved in serious crimes like murder and racketeering, Cohen was only ever arrested for tax evasion. In 1951, he was convicted of this crime and sentenced to 4 years in prison. His ability to stay in the spotlight and avoid severe legal consequences highlighted just how influential and slippery he was in the criminal world. 3. John Dillinger, the Public Enemy. John Dillinger became famous during the Great Depression as a notorious bank robber. With his bold bank heists and charming personality, Dillinger was often seen as a sort of Robin Hood figure, robbing banks and supposedly sharing the loot. He was known for his dramatic jail escapes, which only added to his legend. Dillinger's crime spree ended in 1934 when he was shot and killed outside a Chicago movie theater. Despite being a criminal, his death led to surprising public sympathy and mourning. 2. Pablo Escobar, the drug lord. Pablo Escobar was the head of the Medellin cartel in Colombia and one of the most infamous drug lords ever. His cartel was huge, controlling a lot of the cocaine trade and making him incredibly rich, one of the wealthiest people in the world. Escobar didn't just stick to drugs, he was also involved in terrorism and political schemes to keep his power. He was known for being extremely ruthless, taking out anyone who challenged him. His criminal reign came to an end in 1993 when he was killed during a dramatic chase on a rooftop. 1. Al Capone. The king of organized crime, Al Capone, one of the most notorious gangsters of the Prohibition era. Capone made a huge fortune from illegal alcohol, running a massive crime empire that involved everything from bootlegging to using violence to keep control. He's best known for the brutal St. Valentine's Day massacre, where 7 rival gang members were killed, which cemented his fearsome reputation. Even though Capone was notorious for his criminal acts, he was finally brought down not by his violent crimes, but by something unexpected: tax evasion. In 1932, he was sentenced to prison for not paying his taxes, showing how sometimes justice can come in surprising ways. And there you have it, our rundown of the top 10 most notorious criminals of all time. From ruthless mob bosses to cunning con artists, these figures have left an indelible mark on history. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of crime, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our daily videos.